Hello dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Gurmanjit Kaur, Associate Professor, Khalsa College of Education, Ranjit Avenue, Amritsar. After studying this topic, you will be able to know about the concept of supervision, acquaint with the definitions given by scholars, and list and describe the principles of educational supervision. Learn about practices of educational supervision related with beginner and individual teachers. Explain the supervising practices related to curriculum and the role of school principal in supervision. Know the meaning and process of monitoring. The action, process or occupation of supervising means a critical watching and directing as of activities or course of action. The term supervision derived from the word supervideo, meaning to oversee, as mentioned by Adipoju in 1998. Adipoju in 1998 defines school supervision as the process of bringing about improvement in instruction by working with teachers who are working with the pupils. It has also been described as a process of stimulating growth and a means of helping teachers to achieve excellence in teaching. Supervision is a way of stimulating, guiding, improving, refreshing, encouraging and overseeing certain group with the hope of seeking their cooperation in order to make the supervisors successful in their task of supervision. Supervision is essentially the practice of monitoring the performance of school staff, noting the merits and demerits and using befitting and harmonious techniques to amend the flaws while still improving on the merits, thereby increasing the standard of schools and achieving educational goals. Now, let us start the basic principles for effective supervision. First of all, healthy atmosphere. The environment should be made free of tension and emotional worries. The atmosphere should be given incentive for work. Then staff orientation. The quality and quantity of the work must be specified in clean and clear terms. Staff should be made to understand clearly what to expect and what not to expect from them. Now, staff must be given the necessary orientation. They should have schedule to know from where to get information and materials to help them perform the work satisfactorily well. Guidance and staff training. Staff should be offered necessary guidance. They should be guided on how to carry out the assignments. Standards should be set by the supervisor, while information should be given ruling out the possibility of rumors. Information should be for everybody and specify to individuals assigned to a particular task. Techniques of how to do it must be given at all times. The school must always arrange and participate in staff training. Immediate recognition of good work. Good work should be recognized. This implies that the acknowledgement of any good work done must be immediate and made public to others, which will then serve as an incentive to others. Incentive of merit, recommendation for promotion, etc. improves the performances. Constructive criticism. Poor work done should be constructively criticized. Advice and personal relationship should be given to the affected staff. It needs be stated here that such criticism should be made private and with the mind free of bias. Opportunity for improvement. Staff should be given opportunity to prove their worth and for aspiring higher. They should be therefore be allowed to use their initiatives in performing their job and taking decision. It will give them motivation to work much harder. Motivation and encouragement. Staff should be motivated and encouraged to work to increase their productivity. They should be encouraged to improve the ability to achieve organizational goal. So, supervision is an intervention that is provided by a senior member of a profession to a junior member or members of that same profession. This relationship is evaluative, extends over time and has the simultaneous purposes of enhancing the professional functioning of the junior members, monitoring the quality of professional services. According to Ben Harris, educational supervision of school personnel over individuals, even objects for the purpose of control and administration of school until educational plans are changed and directly influence achievement of the fundamental educational objectives of the school accordingly. H. Vigal defines educational supervision and guidance supervision as supervision is cooperation with individuals and is interactive instead of being direct. It is a sign of people orientation and instead of supervisor, it is teacher oriented. Snopes considers supervision as an operation and experience aiming at improvement of teaching and educational plans. Now, if we talk about the basics of supervision are, we see that the organization is meeting its goals. It is to ensure that employees are performing their jobs in such a way that they are contributing a share in the accomplishment of goals. Here the focus is on daily problems and goals. Now, if we talk about educational supervision, it is based on the principles which consider guarantee of purposefulness and dynamism in an educational system. In order to accomplish a certain task, either simple or specialized, it is required that doer must start his activity, continue with it and accomplish the same by fully observing respective principles of said activity. Realization of views and theories of educational supervision in an educational system and getting assistance of the same for constant improvement of quality and production of new educational qualities depends on fundamental principles of supervision. Educational guides must follow principles of educational supervision and guidance for improvement of educational and learning conditions. They must always be concerned about the said principles in their plans and activities. While discussing the principles of educational guidance and supervision, Marx and Stopes in 1961 stated a few educational principles. Which are these? First of all, educational guidance and supervision, which is a comprehensive part of educational plan, is considered group service. Then, all teachers do need educational guidance. This is a fundamental principle. The responsibility of this service lies on the part of schoolmaster or educational guide. Educational guidance and supervision plans must be prepared and designed in such a way that they fulfill all personal requirements of school teachers. All personnel who are involved in education process, educational or non-educational, do need educational guidance and supervision and must be under coverage of educational plans accordingly. Educational guidance and supervision must explain and indicate educational goals. The educational goals and their importance must always be cautioned to teachers and be regarded as a base for work and activity of educational guides and teachers. Educational guidance and supervision must be in the direction of improvement of attitudes, knowledge, behavior and empowering desirable human relation among all school teachers and act upon development of its relationship with the society. Educational guidance and supervision must organize extracurricular activities of students and lead the same accordingly. The responsibility for improvement of educational process and plan and learning at school classes and schools lies on the part of an educational guide, teacher, schoolmaster and head of district education department and on the part of Ministry of Education at national level. Required predictions for procurement of required facilities associated with educational guidance and supervision plans must be included in annual budgets. For educational guidance and supervision, both short-term and long-term planning is required. An educational guide who is executive of educational guidance and supervision plans must benefit from counseling aids of Education Department, Ministry of Education, universities and other local, provincial and national education organizations at all levels. Educational supervision must analyze and evaluate the latest research findings and hire the same in education. Effectiveness and success of educational guidance and supervision plans must also be evaluated at school by beneficiaries and informed persons and scholars outside the school. Scientists include other items in educational supervision and guidance, some of which are listed here. First, principle of optimism in educational supervision. Optimism and positive view are primary fundamentals of an educational activity. Educational supervisors must promote optimism through which each member of the organization shall promote their counterparts. Optimism emphasizes positive aspects of teachers. It assumes that compulsion and direct control of teachers is not effective. It assigns management of teachers and students to themselves. Sincerity is among fundamental principles. Principle of planned educational supervision. Planned educational supervision, benefiting from a plan and planning for educational supervision is more essential than any other educational task. This principle makes supervisor benefit from certain framework and path and evaluate respective results of supervision accordingly. During each period, a separate planning must be arranged for educational supervision. Organizational principle. Educational guidance and supervision is an organizational behavior and must be regarded as a management responsibility at school. Considering the school where there is no official educational guidance and supervision, schoolmaster must play the role of an educational guide. The responsibility for improvement of educational process and learning at school class and school lies on the part of the educational guide, teachers and schoolmaster. Regarding education department, the said responsibility is fulfilled by head of education department and at national level the said responsibility lies on the part of the Ministry of Education. Principle of responsibility and power. In order to perform guidance and supervision at schools, respective power must be given to educational guide in proportion to his responsibility because the educational guide is not able to settle educational problems by establishing official liaison through organizational hierarchy, relying on respective instructions. The more educational guides rely on their expert knowledge, skills and professional abilities, the more teachers will show eagerness to accept their guidelines. Principles of group dynamism. Supervision is group task in which a teacher, schoolmaster, educational guide, staff education officials must play a great role. In order to modify various education components to collaborate with individuals with various expertises which is really needed. This shall be possible only through making individuals dynamic in a group work. Any individual who is involved in school modification process must be within the framework of guidance and supervision. Thus, this responsibility is excluded from an individual form and a special group and goes beyond school and society. Supervision and guidance is regarded as a team responsibility, which must be presented in form of group dynamisms. Principle of professional growth and development, extension of self-reliance and Independence in work for teachers is among fundamental steps taken for realization of this great goal. Orientation with application of modern phenomena at schools such as computer, using educational software, learning new expert knowledge and higher of modern educational methods all provide suitable grounds for professional growth of experiences of teachers. Acquiring fresh experiences and knowledge which gives fresh abilities and initiatives to teachers is necessary and significant for promotion of efficiency among teachers, but it is so valuable in change of personality of teachers and raising spirits and motivation among teachers and for their scientific and occupational promotion. Principle of systematic thinking. Supervision must be constant and multilateral, including inputs, process and outputs for education system, and it is not limited only to a certain part. Principle of needs assessment. In order to obtain desirable results in supervision and guidance, respective needs of society, teachers, students and the entire educational system must be identified, and supervisors should pay close attention to the aforesaid needs during supervision process. Principle of supervision comprehensiveness. Supervision over educational system must cover the entire body of educational system. Principle of worthiness of individual and group. Higher of methods of educational guidance and supervision shall not bring about equal results for all teachers. At school, a teacher must feel that he enjoys worthiness and importance with respect to school affairs, especially in educational decision making. Positive self-assumption by teacher with respect to himself and his job shall lead his behavior for realization of school objectives. Principle of reactive management. On the strong points of the said principle, before problems become serious and manifested, supervisors must predict possible problems using required means and prevent occurrence of serious problems. Principle of procedural supervision. It means that supervision is a constant and developing activity. No doubt, human lifestyle and social and family life must constantly be improved. Kazan is of the view that even one day should not be passed without any improvement. So, organization which is an open system must constantly be developed. On a whole, attention to the fact that educational supervision is a process shall cause that supervisors be promoted in some issues. What are these? Acceptance and justification of constant improvement philosophy at school. Design of desirable and permanent conditions in supervision. Compiling a timetable for constant improvement at school. Change and modification of teaching methods of teachers. Principle of cooperation means that materialization of supervision goals is not possible only by an educational supervisor. Only rather, all school staff must get engaged in fulfillment of these goals. According to results conducted, one of the effective school characteristics is that joint goal of educational personnel of these institutions would be to improve the education. Thus, educational guidance and supervision is a responsibility distributed among various educational system positions and parts of primary or secondary duties of a few educational system officials is to act upon educational guidance and supervision. Principle of priority of prevention to treatment system is that we act upon certain measures in order to prevent further educational problems. Usually, the principle of prevention is educational supervision is realized in two forms. Direct prevention. In this method, teachers and students become a resistance against the elements leading to drop of quality of education and teaching. It means that an educational supervisor offers certain recommendations. teaching and briefing sessions in order to maintain and to promote awareness of teachers and students. Principle of being scientific and specialized. Nowadays, educational guidance and supervision plans enjoy scientific orientation, and its success in removal of educational obstacles and improvement of teachers' performance owes to achievement of organizational and behavioral sciences. This principle indicates that educational supervisors must achieve a scientific insight for supervision. Scientific insight can be explained by separate definitions of the two concepts of insight and science. In general terms, insight refers to awareness whatsoever. However, in special perception, it means understanding the relationship among the components of a phenomenon entirely or the entire phenomenon. In general term, the concept of science covers the entire human knowledge. Thus, scientific insight refers to understanding of scientific methods and perception of manner and application of the said methods in solving problems. Enjoyment of scientific insight means that individuals enjoy essential and scientific attitude towards respective issues and affairs associated with their job, profession and their personal life, and assumes that research is effective and efficient for solving their problems. Hire of scientific methods and problem solving procedures for those individuals who enjoy scientific insight is natural. If an individual enjoys scientific insight, he enjoys specific personal and behavioral characteristics which differentiate him from others who do not enjoy such insight. Now, let us talk about the practices of educational supervision. According to Glickman and his associates in 2004, the supervisory tasks that have a potential to affect teacher development are as follows. Direct assistance, which is the provision of personal, ongoing contact with individual teachers to observe and assist in classroom instruction. Then group development. It is the gathering together of teachers to make decisions on mutual instructional improvement. Professional development. It is the task which includes learning opportunities for staffs provided or supported by the school and the school system. Curriculum development. It is the revision and modification of the content, plans and material of classroom instruction. Action research. It is the systematic study by a staff of the school on what is happening in the classroom and school with the aim of improving learning by understanding how teachers grow most advantageous in a supportive and challenging environment. The supervisor can plan the tasks of supervision to bring together organizational goals and teacher needs into a single fluid entity. Supervision at school level in teaching learning process is a day-to-day and continuous process. The function of the supervision at the school level should also be continuous responsibility. Within the school system, the supervisors are the school principals and vice principal, the department heads and the senior teachers. The educational program supervision manual of Ministry of Education that was created in 1994 has sufficiently listed the role of supervision at the school level. These are: for the beginner teachers supervision, the supervisor assists in developing the beginner teacher vocationally by different available means. The educational supervisor depends on specified supervising styles such as class visits and meetings without inclination to practice that helping supervisor styles having a great effect in developing cognitions and skills of teachers. Individual supervising practices. Supervisor assists the teachers to discover errors, aspire qualifying teachers for different class strengths and assist developing and qualifying teachers to develop their skill of evaluation. the supervisor works to modernize educational concepts and teaching styles of the teacher. Supervising new developments. The supervisor shares in making the teacher oriented with new developments. The supervisor raises the motivation of the teacher by showing his achievements and capabilities. The supervisor understands the needs of the teacher and his problems and assists him to solve them. The supervisor urges the teachers to employ learning resources like the labs, computers and the library in his education. Training supervising practices. A supervisor must give training to teachers in many areas. The supervisor trains the teachers to put educational plans. The supervisor assists the teacher in specifying his training needs. Supervisor trains the teacher on developing instruments of evaluating students. He trains the teacher on how to present the scientific content. The supervisor trains the teacher to solve problems and how to decide inside the classroom. The supervisor organizes the training workshops that develop the teacher's performance. The supervisor employs minor education to train the new teachers. The supervisor organize symposiums and seminars to teachers related to educational learning process. Supervising practices related to curriculum. The supervisor lays instruction to employ the guidebook of the teachers to implement the curriculum effectively. The supervisor lays directions to employ the teacher's guidebook to effectively implement the curriculum. The educational supervisors participate in preparing curriculums and their development and evaluate them without intervention in planning them. The supervisor directs the teacher to make benefit from local environment in enriching curriculum. The supervisor makes aware of other sources that can be teacher revised without the school text. The supervisor assists the teacher in facing difficulties that confront implementation of the curriculum. Collective supervising practices. The supervisor works at a team spirit with those whom he deals with. Supervisor lead to the weaknesses of the innovation and renewal of them and belittles the size of expectations wished. The supervisor directs the teacher how to control the class, obtain and explain and increasing the burdens of the educational supervisor and difficulty of specifying the cognitive and vocational needs related to how to control the class accurately with unavailability of publications and training courses that assist the teacher to appropriately control the class. Supervising research. The supervisor works on participating the teacher in preparing the procedural researches and developing projects, and that can be explained that teachers view that the educational supervisors are careless of procedural researches and projects concerned with developing the teacher. The supervisor encourages the teacher staff to find an instructional environment meets the needs of users, and that can be explained that teachers view that the educational supervisor has a cognition not enough in things that he should follow, working to find an appropriate educational environment and its effect on educational outcomes. The roles of school principal in supervision. The school principal in his capacity as an instructional leader has some responsibilities. Creating a conducive environment to facilitate supervisory activities in the school by organizing all necessary resources. Then giving the professional assistance and guidance to teachers to enable them to realize instructional objectives. Supervise classes when and deemed necessary. Coordinating evaluation of teaching learning process and the outcome through initiation of active participation of staff members and local community at large. Coordinating of the staff members of the school and other professional educators to review and strengthen supervisory activities. And cause the evaluation of the school community relations on the basis of evaluation results strive to improve and strengthen such relations. Now, the monitoring. Monitoring is the process of collecting and interpreting data on specified indicators to provide management and stakeholders with evidence of the extent of progress towards achieving the objectives from the implementation of a plan. The monitoring and supervision of the aspects which are easily quantifiable have generally received the attention of the planners, implementers and supervisors. For this, there is a need to have an effective monitoring system through which not only the progress of the program can be analyzed, but also timely corrective measures can be undertaken. The levels for monitoring and feedback mechanism has been given in next figure. First of all, every teacher analyzes data on learners' achievement to reflect on students' learning and performance. Then, community-based organizations collect information at school level. Then, cluster resource coordinators consolidate and analyze this data. Then, block level coordinator analyzes the data sent by these CRCs and collects information at their own level. Then, DPO and DITEs reflect on information and collate information sent by different blocks. Then, SCRT and State Project Office reflect information and collate information sent by these DPOs and DITEs. Then, this information is sent to the national level, but the state office will also reflect on information about the enrollment and actual attendance of children in school, but will not send it to the national level. This is the hierarchy, how the information flow system is working for the quality monitoring in our country. For quality monitoring, a computerized district information system for education is operational in the country, which looks into several quality related parameters like student classroom ratio, teacher pupil ratio, teachers profiles and examination results. In addition, Government of India with the help of NCERT has operationalized a quarterly monitoring system in the form of quality monitoring tools to monitor quality aspects such as students' attendance, teacher availability in schools, classroom practices, student learning achievements, academic supervision provided by these BRCs, CRCs, community support, etc. Monitoring provides government officials with means to learn from past experience in order to improve planning and resource allocation decisions and in order to demonstrate results as a part of accountability to the stakeholders. As far as teachers monitoring is concerned, it involves faculty development programs, fund utilization, placement record of teaching centers, internal audit mechanism, trainees teachers feedback evaluation and percent of trainees completing training versus target. Typically, monitoring is associated with either of the following. School inspection. This is often manifested in the monitoring and evaluation departments that are a standard feature of the State Universal Basic Education Board organogram in many states. Civil works projects. The idea is that the state authorities need to organize support visits to schools where a construction or maintenance project is taking place to verify progress, while both of the above are valid uses of the term. Monitoring and evaluation, they are only partial activities which along with many other activities contribute to the monitoring and evaluation of the long-term educational strategic plans and medium-term sector strategies. This document addresses approaches and tools to monitoring and evaluating the implementation and results at the level of the entire educational sector. Now, how to monitor? For an effective monitoring process, the collection of data must be accompanied by its analysis and evaluation. Monitoring in education also requires the establishment of standards for the effective assessment of features such as teacher quality, curricula, student performance and other elements of the entire education system. The effectiveness of a monitoring system also depends on the involvement of various stakeholders, increased awareness of the monitoring, its tools, methods and techniques helps to increase the demand for it and thereby strengthen its functioning. Thus, the institutionalization of a monitoring system is necessary for its success. The institutionalization of monitoring system implies that it produces monitoring information and evaluation findings which are judged valuable by key stakeholders. When this information is used to improve government performances and when there is sufficient demand for the monitoring function to ensure its funding and its sustainability for the foreseeable future. Other monitoring system in India, policy makers often use data for a variety of monitoring systems to develop educational strategies. The three most widely used systems are discussed below. One is All India Education Survey conducted by the National Council of Educational Research and Training. AIES enables the collection of information on the country's overall progress in the area of school education. However, the time lag between the collection and the dissemination of data is a significant limitation of this system. AIES covers availability of schooling facilities in rural habitations, physical and educational facilities in schools, incentive schemes and beneficiaries, medium of instruction and language taught, enrollment particularly of SCs, STs, girls and educationally disadvantaged minority groups, teachers and their academic and professional qualification, libraries, laboratories, subsidiary staff and subject-wide enrollment at +2 stage of education. Second is DICE, District Information System for Education. DICE is a school-based statistical system initiated in 1995 to monitor the implementation of the district primary education program. In 2001, in the light of the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, DICE was extended to cover the level of elementary education in the entire country. District and school report cards are produced to provide information in a uniform format. Furthermore, it has drastically improved the time lag in data dissemination from 7 to 8 years to less than 1 year. DICE covers two types of information, village level and school level. Village level data comprises variables related to access to educational facilities of various types, identification of habitation without access to primary and upper primary schools based on distance norms, inventory of all types of educational institutions including recognized and unrecognized schools in the village. School level information comprises core data on school location, management, rural-urban enrollment, buildings, equipments, teachers, medium of instruction, age grade matrix, children with special needs and examination results. The school summary report shared with the school contains key data on the school and a summary of indicators which are compared with the cluster, block and the district averages. National evaluation body for monitoring quality, education and administration also needs to be more conscious of actual learning outcomes at different levels, which will determine both policy and functioning. National Knowledge Commission therefore proposes a national evaluation body to monitor the quality of both government and private schools using a result-based monitoring framework based on a short list of monitorable criteria that include both process and outcome indicators. Revamping school inspections. The system of school inspection need to be revamped and revitalized with a greater role for local stakeholders and great transparency in the system. The solution does not lie in simply expanding the system. Rather, we need to develop systems to ensure meaningful monitoring, including provision of greater facilities to school inspectors, a separation of inspection of qualitative and administrative aspects, transparency in the criteria of inspection, and greater involvement of local stakeholders. Educational activities need supervision to achieve educational objective. Supervision and inspection are good machineries to upgrade teachers into required standard. Teachers need supervision to work harder no matter their level of experience and devotion. Without supervision, both teachers and school administrators backslide rapidly in their performance. All school teachers do require educational supervision services. None of the teachers may claim that they don't need such services. This education must create and promote this mindset that all teachers, irrespective of the extent and type of their expertise, do need supervision services. The monitoring makes it real successful. Thank you.